With just 4 days before the historic midterm elections, the number one issue for a majority of Americans is their money and the future of their finances. Please listen to this. And today, the government released a very strong jobs report, and it could be a boost for Republicans in these final days. 250,000 jobs were added in October. That far exceeds expectations. And the unemployment rate, it remains at 3.7% for the second month in a row. That is the lowest rate we have seen since December 1969. And here's some really good news. Hourly wages up 3.1% over the last year. That is the biggest gain since April 2009. But despite strong economic growth, the American dream is still out of reach for far too many Americans. A new eye-opening study from the Third Way, a center-left think tank in D.C., measured the financial security of all Americans. Using a combination of data on wages and local cost of living, the group established an opportunity index for scoring Americans in the largest metro areas. The study breaks jobs into 4 categories: hardship, living wage, middle class, and professional jobs. And what they found was very troubling. 2/3 of jobs across the nation, 62%, fall short of a middle class standard of living. 30% of jobs nationwide pay a hardship wage, meaning they fail to provide a basic standard of living, especially in more expensive metro areas. On average, those hardship wages are about $26,000 a year for an adult living on his or her own. When it comes to high-cost cities, it takes a shocking amount of income to be considered middle class or better, according to measures set by this study. For example, to qualify as middle class in San Francisco, a job must pay at minimum $82 grand per year. But the current median wage is just $57,000 a year. Compare that to Cedar Rapids, Iowa, where a middle-class job starts at $40,000 a year and the median wage is $38,000. The Opportunity Index gave Iowa a higher score than places like San Francisco. So, Ali, when you see the jobs number, yes, to Sarah Eisen's point at the top of the show, this should be a strong talking point for Republicans. But it remains not the top talking point for the president, and it's barely at the top of the scale for Republicans running for re-election. All this is a continuation of the Obama economy, where there were a lot of people left out. And with the tax cut being what it was, the middle class remains in pain.
Right. So you talked about hardship wages, right? $26,452. That's what a lot of Americans earn, more than a third of Americans. If you earn $15 an hour, we're really impressed with all these companies that are paying $15 an hour. That's the new normal for a lot of them. That'll net you $31,000 a year. So, when we're all saying, hey, we're paying too much to people, if you work for Amazon, you earn $15 an hour, you earn $30,000 a year. Can't support a family on that. You can't do a lot of these. You have a pre-existing condition, you're done. You have an elderly parent or a kid going to college, done.
The good news is wages are going up.
Yes.
We've looked at jobs numbers for months and say, when are wages moving? Wages are moving now.
They are up, and so is inflation. But wages are up about 0.6% beyond inflation. So 0.6% is what we're really looking at. But that's the problem of our time. That's the intractable thing. 3.7% unemployment. Remember, in our business, we used to think of 5% unemployment as the floor. That's called full employment. And yet people still earn $26,000.
And it's stunning to me that people aren't happy. We just have to tie it back to the midterms for a moment. When you think about the fact that the election is just 4 days away, you scratch your head, because the president has been railing against his own Fed chair, Jay Powell, about raising interest rates, saying we're suffering. With the jobs numbers that we're getting, of course he would raise interest rates. Goldman Sachs economist Jan Hatzius said, yes, we continue to call for 5 rate hikes. You should. But tax cuts, which the president also said we're going to get middle-class tax cuts, are we?
Yep. And by the way, the tax cuts are supposed to hit today, the ones that were promised.
But be serious for a minute. The fact that the president made that up out of thin air. He made it up to help with this election. And people need to realize there are no middle-class tax cuts coming before the election, and there are no plans for any coming after the election. It would be great if there were. Have you heard of any person in the administration or Republican with a plan for how to pay
Larry
for said
Kudlow
tax
spoke
cut?
about it probably an hour ago, in which he said, well, there's something on the table, and there are also spending cuts on the table. So remember, there's no free lunch here. When the Republicans cut taxes for corporations and didn't cut spending, as they did last year, Our debt went up. Our deficit went up. So there's no free lunch. That's how it goes.
Please remember, if there are spending cuts, you know who's not going to be hit? Corporate America. Corporate America got a record amount in tax cuts.
Yep.
When spending cuts come, they come to programs. They come to health care that affects everyday Americans out there, not corporate America.
39% of Americans couldn't cover a $1,000 expense, a $1,000 setback.
And you know what a $1,000 setback is? One trip to the emergency room.
Mm-hmm. That's right. 21% have nothing saved. We're going to come back to this, by the way, because we just think this is really important. We're not blaming President Trump for it at all. This is a problem we've had for a good amount of time. But when we talk about all this joy and 3.7% unemployment and all
and
that,
it is good.
it's context.
The economy
Yep.
is good, but we have to put it all in perspective because every viewer sitting there at home, are you taking care of your family? Are you making enough?
Right. Hey, MSNBC fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there and click on any of the videos here to watch the latest interviews and highlights. You can get more MSNBC for free every day with our newsletters. Just visit msnbc.com/newsletters to sign up now.